Hippocrates said that death sits in the bowels, and modern science is now proving him right. Hi, I'm Leilani. I'm a qualified clinical nutritionist and I'm a chef, and most of my clients originally think constipation is just uncomfortable. But here's the hard reality. If you're not clearing your bowels properly, you're actually recirculating those toxins. You're destroying your good gut microbes. And in case you need just a little bit more convincing, there's now new research linking chronic constipation to a 50% higher risk of dementia, a 56% higher risk of Parkinson's disease, and a 48% higher risk of depression and anxiety. But look, it can actually be a really easy fix. And that's what I'm covering in these 2-part constipation series. And the most interesting thing is people don't realize they're even constipated in the first place. So today I'm going to give you a dead simple test you can do tonight to find out exactly how fast your gut is moving. And I'll also break down the top root causes so you actually know what you're dealing with so you can fix it from the ground up. Because if you are a bit bloated, feeling foggy, or maybe you're just exhausted, just feel like you're carrying a little heavy load around with you, it might actually just be as simple as getting things moving along. And some things in life are worth holding on to, but your poop is not one of them. So now, to make it all super simple, I've actually put together a conquering constipation cheat sheet. It's got a Bristol stool chart, it's got a 7-day poop tracker, and the full Therapeutic breakfast as well. So just grab it in the links below. So before I reveal that transit test, some of the most common symptoms and mistakes people make and how to fix them are coming up. And you need to know what constipation really is, because it's actually a lot more common than you might think. So what really is constipation? And most people think it just means you haven't gone in a couple of days. But actually clinically, it's more defined as an incomplete emptying. Think like straining, hard to pass stools, that constantly never quite feel empty feeling. And let's be honest, it might even include the kind of farts that clear a room. Because it's like your insides have become a compost bin, except nothing good is actually growing from them. And this is your gut asking you for help. And here's some of the symptoms that people don't actually connect with constipation or slow bowel movements. Because the danger here is that the bacterial toxins that build up when waste sits too long, they don't just sit in your gut. They cross over to your bloodstream. They trigger neuroinflammation like headaches and brain fog, anxiety, and even things like hay fever, or food intolerances pop up. Because constipation creates that perfect storm of histamine overload or leaky gut. And your brain actually pays the price for what's happening in your bowel. So no, this is not just a bathroom issue. Okay, so now let's get on to the home bowel transit test that you can do. Now, most people go their whole lives without knowing how fast their gut is moving. So this simple test changes that. And let me tell you, it can actually be really eye-opening. I recently had a client and they just had the worst headaches, right? And they even had a regular type 4 sausage-like stool on the Bristol stool chart. And we found with this test that actually food was sitting in her bowel for 8 days, right? She wasn't clearing it. So once we did start to move things along, those headaches just actually went away because those toxins weren't recycling. So give it a go. It's really simple. Now I want you to eat one of the following, and I want you to write down exact time that you've taken it. You can add it to any meal that you like. A big tablespoon of black sesame seeds, or a whole corn cob, or about 1/3 of a cup of cooked black quinoa. And then I want you to do is watch when you first see it in your poop. So that ideal time is about 14 to 24 hours. But here's the other important part. It needs to all be cleared by 36 hours. And you're aiming for about 1 to 2 bowel motions per day. That's when your microbiome thrives, at least for most people. So why are you actually constipated, you ask? Let's talk about what might be driving that. Number 1, your diet is low fiber and or you're dehydrated. Yeah, the basics actually really matter here. And if you've already tried eating more fiber and drinking more water, ideally with electrolytes or some kind of mineral, and nothing's changed, or maybe you've gotten worse bloating with the fiber, there's obviously something deeper going on. And I've got a specific protocol for that, and I'll get into that in a sec. Number 2, chronic stress and high cortisol. Now this one is massively underestimated, but cortisol directly inhibits gut motility. So your nervous system actually shunts blood away from the digestive tract when you're in a stressed mode. And so if you're a busy, high achieving person, always on the go, your gut may simply not feel safe enough to go. And I see this a lot in kids actually in clinic. Number 3, methane dominant SIBO. This one's a big one and almost nobody is talking about it. I've had it myself and it's brutal because it requires a very different approach. Otherwise you'll make the problem worse. So SIBO stands for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and those methane producing type of bacteria are one of the most common hidden drivers of chronic constipation and bloating. Now the methane gas literally acts as a brake on your gut and it slows the intestinal motility. It makes everything really sluggish, including your thyroid, your energy, all of it. And the tell sign is that the bloating gets worse at the end of the day, or you feel really full quickly as soon as you start eating. The only way to really confirm it is with a breath test. And if this kind of sounds like you, I really encourage you to look into that, because I've had it myself and it's really challenging to treat, and it progressively gets worse if you don't do anything. And I actually have a SIBO protocol that I've used for myself as well as my clients. So if that's you, just find my email or message me and I'll get back to you with more details. Number 4, magnesium deficiency. This is extremely common in our society, but particularly in stressed women. And the magnesium is essential for the smooth muscle contraction of the gut wall. So a deficiency means sluggish motility, and it shows up everywhere because magnesium is actually involved in over 300 processes in the body, from energy, nerves, hormones, muscles, the whole shebang. Number 5, food intolerances, especially the casein in dairy, and then say a gluten protein. These are the most common culprits I see in clinically, and many people just have no idea that they're reacting because the response can be delayed. So it can take even say 72 hours after you've eaten something. So the protocol is to go without it for a chunk of time. Number 6, low stomach acid and digestive enzyme insufficiency. If your stomach is not producing enough acid, the entire digestive cascade slows from the very top. So food sits longer, it ferments more, and it feeds the wrong kind of bacteria. And so chronic and taking antacids or PPIs used long term is a major driver of this, and it can also cause SIBO because of that bacterial overgrowth. So I do recommend trying some natural interventions here to improve digestion. Let me know in the comments what your favorite suggestions for better digestion are. For me, for example, one of them is I drink lemon in water 15 minutes before a meal to help the gastric secretions. It sounds like a really dirty word, secretion, but it's not. It's kind of funny, right? At the same time. The next one is medications, and it's one of the most overlooked causes of constipation, say opioids or certain antidepressants, antihistamines, iron supplements, aluminium-based antacids. They're all known to slow gut motility, and they harden your stool. So if you're on any of these, the connection is worth discussing with your doctor. So guys, your body is not broken, it just needs the right tool for the stool. And now that you know what likely is going on, in part 2, I'm giving you the full food first protocol, plus the exact therapeutic foods and supplements and the best science-backed probiotics that I recommend clinically, plus the gut reset breakfast that has my clients going from twice a week to twice a day a lot of the time. That knowledge alone can be a game changer for your health. And it's in the next video. It'll be coming next week, or maybe it's available now. I'll leave it at the end screen. So click there, and until next time, love your guts.